A new bill backed by state Senate leaders would ban any discussion of systematic racism or of diversity, equity, and inclusion in North Carolina schools. Critics say this bill is so vaguely worded, it could limit what teachers can teach about issues such as history and civics. WRAL's Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is joining us live at the state legislative building with what the bill does and does not say. Laura.
Lena, the bill would prohibit schools in North Carolina from teaching about what it refers to as divisive concepts. It would also ban any teacher training that involved DEI concepts or implicit bias. Supporters say this is meant to ensure dignity and non-discrimination in schools, but opponents say it's not clear who defines something as divisive, and that leaves teachers potentially at risk.
Senator Michael Lee said he's not against diversity, equity, and inclusion as values. What he's opposed to is the way he believes they're being implemented in schools.
Essentially telling a student they have to feel a certain way because they have a certain, from a certain country or because of their race.
Lee said his bill spells out what qualifies as a divisive concept, like making students feel discomfort or distress because of their race or sex. He said the bill specifically protects the teaching of history and civil rights. But Senator Woodson Bradley says the bill isn't clear about who defines divisive.
Who's going to adjudicate this? Who's the judge and jury of whether the student's been affronted? Did the teacher make a mistake? What does this mean for the district? That's a really big question.
Lee said it's up to students or families with complaints to take action.
Citizens can go like they do now when certain school districts are violating the law and report that to their school boards. They can also report that to DPI.
Senator Caleb Tedros said it's not clear whether any schools are even teaching any of the concepts the bill would ban. But he said it's a culture war talking point for Republicans.
This is essentially the reason why we're seeing it. There's no specificity in the bill. There's no sort of appeals process, review process. There's no implementation. And so it did great in the election. Therefore, they're trying to use some of that momentum here.
I did ask the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction whether any schools actually have DEI programs or whether DPI is doing any DEI teacher training as an agency. I heard back from spokesman Mark Desauer, who says no, DPI does not offer any DEI teacher training programs, and they're not aware of any schools that have DEI programs of their own because schools aren't actually required to report that to the state as of now. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, Raleigh.